U.S. said, we'll keep you in power, we'll protect you, we'll help you develop Saudi Arabia. This will be good for you, it'll be good for your people. In exchange, you agree only to sell oil in dollars.
Right, petrodollars.
And so every economy needs energy to run on. And so every economy in the world needs oil. And so therefore, every economy in the world needs dollars. Kind of the standard, then more transactions were done outside the United States, but denominated in dollars because it was the easiest currency to transact in. If you think of each country like a swimming pool and it's filled with water and then they print more money, that's like putting more water into the swimming pool. Eventually, it's going to flow over and run out on the grass and into the streets. That's inflation, right? That's when the purchasing power is falling. The problem when people say they're going to print money and that's going to happen, it's not that they're incorrect. It's just that what they forget or what they don't know is that there's a drain on the bottom of the swimming pool of the United States that drains out into the rest of the world and goes to all the other swimming pools. All those other swimming pools, they don't have a drain that stays in their country.
Yep.
And so the U.S. dollar goes out and then they print their own currencies and they overflow. Those other countries get higher rates of inflation than the United States does because they don't have a drain.
So are you saying that the inflation primarily in these other countries is caused from too many dollars?
It can be, and in some cases it is, yes. A lot of times when people talk about the system, the design of the system, that it's an exorbitant privilege for the United States, it's because we can export our inflation, because we can send the excess dollars outside the United States, and it causes inflation to flare up overseas in these other countries rather than domestically.
And it causes that because, like, say, in China, people are getting dollars. They have more purchasing power in China, and that's why it causes that inflation?
Well, a lot of times when capital flows overseas, a lot of times it'll go to the central bank.
Okay.
And then the central bank will exchange the dollars that have arrived in the central bank for local currency.
I see.
So that local currency in that market increases.
That's what causes.
And then it loses value and they get inflation.
So this sounds like it's really good for the dollar to the person listening, but you make the argument that this is actually inevitably bad for the dollar. So can you explain that?
Well, in the short term, it's good, right? Mm-hmm. And look at what's happened in the United States in the last couple of years. The stock market has gone through the roof. Asset prices have gone higher. And that's coincided with the dollar being higher as well because the rest of the world wants to send their money into the United States. On some levels, that's a good thing.
It's good for us
right
now.
And it's good for people who have assets. It's not necessarily good for
National
lower
Small Business United versus
economic
Yellen.
Stratus, right?
Yep.
Because the wealth inequality is expanding.
Yeah.
All things being equal, you would rather have capital flowing into your country than leaving. It's like a company. Do you want to only be sending money away? You want money to come in as well, right? So it's good on a relative basis. But if it gets too strong, if the dollar gets too strong, it will cause an international crisis. And then some of that blowback will happen on the United States as well.
So I remember, obviously, I've been in the real estate game a long time. And whenever our dollar gets really strong, we get a lot of foreign investment. Yeah, and over the years, I've seen tremendous amount of foreign investment, and it does appear because obviously they're in their own currencies, and they're like, I want to put my money where the currency, where the asset prices and the currency is strong. So is that where you kind of see? You think real estate's going to get pushed up even higher potentially?
This is one of the questions I have for you, actually.
I actually do.
But the point you're making is something that I've tried to explain to people as well. Is if you're a wealthy investor outside the United States and you have some excess capital to spend, the United States in many ways is a no-brainer to do it. So as an example, if they buy a building or a house or a stadium or whatever, they invest in the United States, and over the next 5 or 10 years, that asset prices rise. But also over that 5 or 10 years, the dollar rises 10 or 15% versus their local currency.
Yeah.
They're getting a turbocharge on their local dollars, right? And so also, not even just real estate. Let's say you live in Brazil and you've got an extra $1 million and you send it to your brokerage account in the United States and you buy T-bills with it. And the T-bill pays you 5%, but the real loses 5% that year.
Yeah,
you just made 10% for sitting in cash.
Correct.
Right?
So before we jump right over that point, I think that's a huge point.
Oh, hello.
What you're saying is, if you're sitting in Brazil with $1 million and you all you do is move it to the U.S. and it's a
I'm at the village
4%, and at the same time your currency in Brazil loses 4 or 5%. You've actually made 8.
Should be all right. My connection should be all right. I think we have optical and the farm, so that's nice.
George Gammon, and he had some people from
Oh,
around
wait.
the world there. And there was a guy from Australia, and he was in the real estate business in Melbourne.
So crazy fucking almost Trump inauguration. He makes a freaking coin now, apparently. Uh, uh, E- Elon Musk is trying to pretend like he's a gamer. Did you hear about that one?
Oh yeah, I heard about the gamer stuff.
So
But
freaking
I mean,
weird. It's really
anybody that's actually a gamer knows that he's not like a super gamer. He's definitely in the culture, I would say that, but not like
yeah,
he's
but
not
like,
like it's
all
not
right,
like
you
my
could,
level. No way.
yeah. I mean, I like me. I'm not a gamer, but I love games and I have a real life. So like, it's a hard balance. But from his perspective, even fucking Asmongold called him out. Was like, hey, just prove to us that like, you got to 97 that you're claiming, or at least tell us the truth. And he freaking takes off. Like, he unfriends him. You know Asmon, right? You know Asmon.
Mhm. Yeah,
He unfriends him, removes his gamer check mark,
mhm.
his what is it, the official check mark, and then DM drops a conversation between him and Asman saying, "Oh, he's not even his own guy because he has editors he has to go through an agreement with." But he doesn't screenshot that one little part that says, "Hey, Elon, if you prove to us that you're got to 97, like, because the question was, Elon was asking, hey, do you want to stream on X? And he was like, well, if you prove to us you're 97, I promise I'll stream on X for a whole year. And he cut it off. Like, at least say, look, man, I'm a busy man. I got a brain that I got to use for productivity. Be real. He uncheck marks everything, unfriends him, and then DM drops his shit. And I'm just like, what the heck? I thought he wasn't a man child. I thought he had his emotional intelligence in order. Like, I'm almost shocked that was his response. Anyway, that was
No,
weird.
I'm not shocked. Very
I
much
don't
not
know.
shocked.
He's an adult, dude. Like, just say you're a busy motherfucker
No,
and yeah,
no,
you
I think
paid someone.
he- he-
Whatever.
here's what I think. I think he's a regular person with a lot of money. That's it. And the problem is that you need a really good character if you have a lot of money, or you end up kind of like Elon, essentially.
I mean, yeah, if you can put your investments in the right place and gather all the bright minds of the like world, but
And that's the thing. A lot of the rich people are really just like they're regular people. They just got a lucky break.
but
They definitely worked hard, sure, but they are
but
still regular people that are essentially have the same personality as Elon.
But like, okay, so then is Elon not actually a genius? Is he not smart and it's just the money that makes him who he
Who's
is?
claiming he's a genius?
I mean, for the case scenario that he made a flamethrower at one
I mean,
point and made
every
money
every
off of that.
fanatic, like I can understand, like every like Elon fanatic or Trump fanatic or who enter person here fanatic is gonna assume that person is like a genius or like a role model or whatever. But I don't think the general public or anybody that thinks about it for 10 seconds will think he's a genius.
Okay, not a genius, but like put all of the CEOs in a line. Would he be the
hmm
smartest of the CEOs?
Depends what you mean by smart. They all have
Like
their own areas.
okay, I'm not talking business smart because business smart is like knowing people and going to fraternity class. I'm talking math, I'm talking physics, I'm talking like real smart, actual
I'm
smart.
sure, and that's the thing. Like a lot of these smart people, they have their very own niche expertise that could be very well suited for them, and they'll be
Like
geniuses
what?
in that respect. But like,
Tell me why is Bezos smart? He's no more smarter than anyone but with money and network connections and probably had a good
yeah,
fraternity
money network connections
university.
is 90% of it. Yeah,
That's
that,
not
that that's what
smart
I'm saying.
though.
They're not. That's. I think we're agreeing. They're not smart.
Okay, that's fine. I guess. Man, I had
Yeah.
a different view on that guy and I'm slightly shocked.
Actually, I think what I remember like reading, like a lot of the smart people actually don't end up being rich because they're stuck studying and progressing a lot of the cutting edge stuff in the first place, right? The
Yeah.
people that are working on like
The people that are investing in the smart people are normally the rich ones, and the smart people are
Yeah,
actually doing the
yeah,
work
because
to be
they own
smart.
everything. So yeah, so just because you're smart doesn't mean you're rich, and vice
Yeah, I
versa.
guess so.
There's
Yeah, I
it's
think he
actually
just
almost the opposite.
he dropped like 20 points on my top people at this point. He was maybe top 15. Like you can't
I
replace
guess
Nikolai
our
Tesla
main
or
metric is IQ, right? So our main metric is IQ.
yeah.
If he goes takes an IQ test, I doubt he's going to be in an upper tier on anything.
He'd probably be 120. He's not in the 130s. Maybe 115 you give him. Because I Jeff Bezos for sure is like 90.
And again, IQ isn't like the end all be all, but
But that's
it's
just a
our kind of
general
best.
like ladder that
It's
we
our
can kind of judge
it's our
people
best
on.
tool to be like, yeah, it's our best
Yeah.
tool.
It's the best ladder that we can identify. Like Jeff Bezos is like 80, 90 tops. Elon's probably 110. Like Einstein was 140. I mean, in my perspective, I don't know his official numbers if he even has it. Nikolai Tesla, I don't know where the hell he goes, but he's probably up there with Einstein. Da Vinci, he was fucking both creative and mathematical, so he gets bonus points for both sides of his hemispheres.
Yeah, it's the people that excel in completely different areas that I'm jealous of. And that's what I'm trying to do essentially. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah, because you
Gotta
have to cater to
you
both
gotta
sides of the.
it's you
Yeah,
yeah, not only do you have to be good at like multiple things, you have to have the discipline to invest time in multiple things too. So that means you end up like slacking off on either like socialization or other like day-to-day activities and stuff.
yeah.
And I guess you'd
Imagine.
have to also just have a lot of money and to be taken care of every day too, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Imagine trying to cater to emotional intelligence, creative intelligence, and whatever other the brain thinking intelligence.
Um, they come up with all these other terms now, but IQ
Just three main ones.
is still your umbrella one. Emotional
Well, IQ
intelligence is
should
still kind
be
of wrapped up into IQ anyway.
right. IQ is kind of the prepackaged all three, but there's just three flat ones. There's emotional intelligence, there's creative intelligence, and then there's like left, the right brain, the mathematical intelligence, the critical thinking, the analytical intelligence. But that's it. There's nothing else outside of it. You can rename it and sub partition them into smaller fields, but in the end, it's the same pieces. Oh my God. This week is going to be insane. They're also going to be doing like his inauguration indoors because it's cold, but also coincides with
What? It's
some.
always cold. It's the same time every year. What?
I know. But it coincides with some drone company,
I just
Chinese
saying,
drone company,
I
removing
do agree.
geofencing.
In the modern era, it shouldn't be outside.
Yeah.
Just because of just the commercial available technologies where a bad actor could do something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, for
it
sure.
shouldn't be outside.
That's the
Yeah.
excuse, but just before they said it was going to be indoors, there was a Chinese drone company that removed geo-fencing, like restrictions on geographical locations. So like that's a little sus. So you can use drones wherever, pack it with a couple of,
You always could though. That's probably their company had like something with some safeguard for their drones, but you always could. Drones are very commercially available for everybody.
DJI is the company. 20 hours ago. How to remove, I mean, I guess geofence from a geofence list. I guess you can. How do I remove geofence when the user enters specific geofence but can't find any documentation? I guess you can, I guess, hack it. But DJ's bold move, why the world leading drone maker remove geofencing? DJI app. After updating the DJI app today, I was surprised to discover that as of January 13th, the world leading drone manufacturer has removed its geofencing feature prior to its update. Required pilots to upload proper documentation and gain authorization to operate in restricted blue zones. Oh, that's fun. So that's gone. The timing of this update raises eyebrows, especially with the Trump administration set to take office. And yeah, no, it for sure raises eyebrows.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you've seen the whole drone chaos happening, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that took so long.
It's
It
still going.
took
It
so long to get
hasn't.
noticed.
I guess, yeah, but I don't know. Some of them that I've seen aren't so drony. At least not typical. All right, what do you want to do? We're doing your little AI attachment to.
We can just chit chat. I kind of want to fix what I have going on here first. I guess I can share that. Oh, I guess I can share my screen too.
Let's do.
Actually, yeah, I should record. Just get a habit of doing stuff.
Yeah, I've already started stream. I started without you. I started at
Yeah, I saw it.
11:04.
I saw it on
Motherfucker.
YouTube, and I was curious on how much lag there was.
Ah, true.
And it's pretty good. It's 5 seconds. Whoa,
Okay,
infinite
okay.
screen.
Was the quality all right? I haven't double checked it. Let me see.
Um,
Because I am
I thought it was fine,
on.
but I only looked at it for like 5 seconds.
I can't see my own stream live. Come on. Yeah, okay, I can.
You either. Nick, let me close my door here. Oh. Oh, I guess if I show a firearm on your stream, it'll probably ban you on YouTube, right?
But yes. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Well, there's
Send
firearm
me a
channels.
picture from Google. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I've been like subscribing to a lot of the firearm channels. They're fine.
Well,
I'm
hold
sure
on.
there's
Yeah,
like
you're
some sort
right.
of
Let me ask my AI. Will
but
showing a
yeah,
firearm on a YouTube stream bode unwell for me?
it's just educational. It's not like
Yeah, that's true. You said what was it? What did you get?
I got a Glock 19 Gen 5. That's
Okay.
my first one here. Very nice. Practicing, doing a lot of dry fires, just getting to know the gun. I definitely want to definitely know the gun as well as I know like a PC part
Against
component list.
and consider using props or digital representations. Well, let's use our imaginations for this next segment. All right, so you got a
Okay.
Glock what?
Glock 19 Gen 5.
Oh, Gen 5.
Yep. Glocks are the most reliable, so and it is very
Durable,
nice.
right? Durability, right? That's the case. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
they're Austrian, which is nice. That's when you know something's good when, one of the most popular guns isn't American, like it's not being shoved down your throat.
That's fair. Marketing.
Uh,
That's fun.
but yeah, it's
How? Oh wait,
used
it's
in a
pretty
lot
tiny.
of militaries, security companies, cops, police departments, etc.
Uh-huh, true, true. Sizing. Some change. I mean, I'm looking at the Gen 3 and the Gen 4. What's the Gen 5 bring? Trigger pull weight on the Gen 4
Yeah,
change.
they're all very nuanced, right? There's different textures on the gun. The coil in the gun could be different mechanics there. I think all the generations of the Glock 19 are essentially the same overall like length in terms of like the
Yeah,
barrel and the
it's like
length of the
six
yeah.
between the crosshairs and wait, what? No, no, no. So yeah,
So they keep it
6.6.
fairly consistent, but they're always trying to like improve it. For
Durability's
that
got
one,
to be the main factor here, right? Durability. When did any firearms become waterproof? Is that a thing, or they still get effed up in water?
I
Do we?
don't know. Don't know.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just rewatching. All right, so I got my streams fine. Actually, doing high quality on it was good too. Man, the internet here is pretty boss. I'm on a farm, bro. That's cray cray. Optical is the way to go.
Started
Also,
recording.
dollar. The dollar is about to go crazy.
Oh,
Everyone
it's always
in
crazy.
it's. I mean, it's good to hold some cash. I think. Uh, because it's not really the dollar that's maintaining itself. It's that the rest of the world's falling apart and they're running to the dollar for safety. And that's causing
Mhm.
a demand supply restriction or restrictive bottleneck. And when you have a bottleneck, you have an increase in the value of the dollar.
Yeah.
And it's in form, man. It is on a bullish, very bullish. It's not
Yeah, it's just
stopping.
like USA is the most stable country by far, if you ask me. So it just makes sense that people run over. Because geographically, it's like hacks essentially.
Yeah.
Got two massive oceans. We got two friendly neighbors. That's it.
We're about to have Greenland. So I want to also see tariffs affecting the dollar because that's going to be a big switch in the market, the tariffs that are coming through.
Yeah, so
Increases the cost,
that's gonna be
making less
curious there.
competitive. Lower
Share
demand
my
for the
screen with
currency
Adam.
associated with those goods. So as a result,
Yeah,
imports may decrease, leading to a lower demand
so
for the currency. Kinda, but then it's a balance between the bonds and the debt of the United States and hedging yourself because it's not just tariffs, it's just so many. If I had a cork board and I was trying to play detective and trying to figure out where anything's going, I'd have strings going everywhere. From tariffs to global issues with currencies to Germany falling apart. You heard they're in recession.
I didn't hear that, but I also think like we were already in, I want to say officially announced recession, but we definitely were in like technical recession anyway.
I mean, we're not really out of it. I feel like only recently the data for credit defaults increased. Uh, Even everyone's going to subscriptions because it's cheaper on the short term. Even car dealers, dude, they're running subscription plans instead of you buying a car. You're like subscribing to have a car or some bullshit. Like, but if you think about it, we've
It's a
had
lease
everything.
essentially, right? We've
I
already
mean,
had that.
yeah, but a lease would be to own, right? I mean, I guess it's a rent. I don't
No,
even know.
lease is right. Yeah, lease
Isn't
is
it lease to
essentially a
own?
subscription. Yeah, I would say that.
Isn't it lease
No,
to
you
own? Or
can
no, it's not
lease.
always.
There
Okay,
is a
not
lease to own.
always.
Not a lot of people
Okay.
do that. Like I didn't do that to my first car. My first car was a Honda Civic, and I leased it. Very
Mm-hmm.
glad I did. Um, at the time, made sense. I actually hated that car so much. So I'm very glad. I'm Mustang now.
The Mustang. You're true American over here. Mustang and a Glock, my dude.
Well, Glock is Austrian, but it is America's like
I mean,
main
it's the
gun. I
police
would say
force's main. Yeah, for sure.
it definitely wins a
Import
lot of
plans.
American contracts. I'm not getting a bootstrap error. I'm getting some sort of error, maybe in the config. So once upon a time, I tried to get my app working with server-side rendering, and I broke it a long time ago, and I just need to figure out what I did.
Let's see.
I could uninstall SSR, I guess, but I kind of don't want to. So do you know the difference between kind of the types of applications in terms of like server-side rendering, client-side rendering, applications and stuff, and like why you
The
would do one
Oh
versus the
yeah,
other?
of course. I mean, if you're limited on server resources, you'd like to normally give the client the processing, and you can basically not over destroy your server with requests and processes. Normally, I like to do that. I like to. That's why I do. If I do web-based stuff, I don't do any crazy frameworks, but I do specifically and efficiently allocate things that the client can do on the client instead of having to continuously check back and forth. And normally I have like one of those heartbeat checkbacks with the server to make sure everything is like running smoothly. But if like unless you're going into a database grabbing info from the server, like there's normally no reason to go into the server specifically. No, it's like token checks, verification checks, server checks, or MySQL checks. But everything else that would normally be on the web page or changing website, I guess, unless I mean, I don't do any specific web app where you download the whole website on the client and then just use JavaScript to go through it.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of web apps is, right? You have
Yeah,
a full client-side application.
right. And you only
Um,
update the
I guess in the
database in the back
past,
end.
I would say in the past 3 to 4 years, there's been a pendulum swing back to server-side rendering things.
Really?
But like, there was a reason why we stopped doing that. It's because, but I still think it's the wrong approach to go that direction. Because
I agree. I mean,
um,
consider you're
you're never
renting a
gonna beat the
server.
speed of light.
Yeah, yeah,
What's that?
that's true.
Yeah.
Consider
So
you're
the
renting
speed
a
of light is
server.
still your
Sorry,
yeah.
go
Is
ahead.
still your limiting factor.
Yeah,
So as you're rendering stuff from the server to the client, right? Let's say you're rendering a whole page now on a server to the client. Now it needs to do all of that every time it's going from server to client, right? That if your
mm-hmm.
client now knowing how to render everything. And I think in the last couple of years, they start coming up with something called like edge servers, right? So these are just servers that live closer to you to kind of avoid the speed of light problem. But now you're adding so much infrastructure and complexity to stuff. There are certain situations where I definitely think like certain pages that are like very maybe critical or stale, or like there's certain situations where you want a page to be server side rendered. But I think for the most part, you should be having a client side application.
I mean, the only case I would say is for cheaper server processing. If you're paying by the processing time on the server side, then for sure you want to like export all the
Oh yeah,
tasks.
there's even that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's the number one case I would be
I didn't even
using
think of that.
client
Oh, I
side.
think I did think of that once. I was like, are you if you're on the cloud and now you're doing server side rendering, you're using more processes, so
I mean, that was my kind of initial case is imagine you're renting a server and then you got to pay for the per processing of whatever. Then I'd be like, yeah, you know, you want nothing to, you only want the server to be a data pipeline. That's it. Did you see, oh, an OBS, did you see
yeah.
the fanciness that I'm doing with the OBSness?
I don't think
Hold on.
so.
Let me share this because I'm screen recording and now sharing all the things. But so we're on the same page. Check my screen real quick. So I started playing with
Checking your
HTML,
screen.
JavaScript, and animations, and
I don't see
decided,
anything.
uh,
I just see your face or your avatar face.
you gotta click on the. I'm sharing live.
Let's click it twice. Watch stream.
Yeah, you gotta click it twice to open it.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yep.
All right. So I basically used, and here's how, and this is a teaching lesson for you too. All you have to
Oh,
do,
this OBS.
yeah,
It looks nicer. Why does it look nicer than mine?
because I have studio mode on, which gives me kind of like two sides. I can basically transfer from one thing, uh, and then transition over to that, and then change based on what I want to basically throw in.
Mhm.
But what I did today is I created three different, well, basically, all you have to do is add a browser, and then that browser is local on your computer, and it's a custom page you created. And then it's basically HTML, JavaScript, and basic web design. And it just, oh, and green screen, because technically all of those are behind a green screen, right? So let's say if I take the hex trace. Now let's do the marquee. Where did I see it open somewhere? It's open. Where are you? Why don't I not? Oh, wait. Oh, weird. So basically, it's just green. and then you put whatever you want to display. You go into filters. No, that's not it. That's another one though. Huh? Properties? Well, I guess I just cropped it. I didn't actually do. Oh yeah, I removed the green screen because it takes more processing. But what you can do is this one probably has a green screen. Chroma key. You go to chroma key, you check green, and that'll filter out any of the green from the page. So all you got to do is just put a green background and then whatever you want to display, and then go to chroma key, remove green, and then your thing is right there. Like this was a green background, and then my uh preparing stream, and then the hex bg background, like the little video clip. So all I do is basically do a green screen on that too. Honeycomb particle, honeycomb center. This was a representation. There it is. That's all it is. And then I green screen chroma away, put it in the center, just some extra little details, but I also have that in an iframe because that's just my actual widgets. I go back to Streamload here. That's the actual bit. So then I go to the Streamload. I find that HTML file, which is technically iframe with some extra text or whatever I want to add to it. And then it imports it straight here. And you don't have to have a browser open to have this running. And it's basically just its internal browser that it's connecting to OBS. Cool, right? Look how fancy this shit is, just being a damn programmer. Look at that.
You just told me so much stuff that I didn't really keep up with.
Yeah,
But
fair. But you know how to make pages.
I do need to learn all this essentially. Well, not all of it, but because if I want to keep my stream as simple as possible.
Yeah. But make it fancy. You just make a page.
A lot of this functionality. Yeah, a lot of this functionality I need to copy over to my streaming platform essentially.
I mean, as you go, once you get an idea, like I have the marquee here from the stuff I do. It's just gonna be chilling down there. But I mean, you're an Angular. You don't even gotta go to Angular. You just gotta basically go drop down back to HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Make something fancy and unique to your style. And bada bing, bada boom, man. You just throw it in here with a green screen, and I like this one because it has the little hexes in the background. That's fun. Anyway, that's all. Show and tell fun.
Have you seen the episode Hexagons or the Bestagons?
Hell yeah. I mean, no, I have not, but
have you seen it?
No.
Yes, go see it. It's great. It's like I was raving about this episode for probably a half a year. Hexagons. You should watch it if you haven't watched this. And this guy's channel is great. Oh yeah.
It's a true fact. Oh yeah.
Warriors.
Yes,
Go.
Guy.
Yes, this guy's great.
I love that guy actually.
You know, hexagons are the bestagons. Why? Because bees. Bees are the best and build only the bestagon, the hexagon. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Oh, no.
Bees build hexagons because they're hexapods with hexagon eyes. How could they do otherwise?
There's so
Excellent
much.
point. But the Humble Bumble has an engineering problem to solve. She makes two things, honey and wax, the former to eat and the latter to contain the former. To make but a little honey, she must visit a lot of flowers, and to make 1 unit of wax, she needs 8 units of honey. Wax is costly for bees in flower terms, and honey is drippy in food terms.
That's
to
fair.
create a hive that contains the maximum honey while using the minimum wax is royally vital. Thus, a honeycomb conjecture. Which shape works best? To answer, we need to talk tiles. Tiling is covering a surface with a pattern of polygons. There's lots of options because there's lots of polygons. Even the regulars.
And this is a whole field of mathematics, just
now,
tiling.
For bees picking
That's
patterns,
fair.
the more
Yeah.
complicated ones obviously use more lines than necessary. That's what complicated means, and thus a honeycomb of that tile would use more wax per honey. So sticking to the simple regulars, there are just 3 that tile tightly: triangle, square, and hexagon. Pentagons are broken hexagons, leaving gaps. Same with septagons. Octagons are alright, but they're no hexagon, which leaves the tiling trio which tile differently. A square is a square of squares, which is a square of squares, and so on. Squares tile tidily by basically cheating, covering an infinite plane with an infinite number of parallel lines. Like, wow, that's what a plane is. Boring. Triangles pull the same trick, dividing themselves down into infinite nothing. But not the hexagon, the
That's
only
facts.
regular polygon to tile a plane without resorting to debasing self-division. Unlike some squares I could mention, at least triangle is trying to be more geometrically interesting than square, teaming up a bit to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, hexagon! The other shapes can't help it. They just want to be the bestagon. Even some of the irregulars like rhombus tile by hexagoning. Same with your tracheus tiles and deltoid trihexanogals and your crystal rhombles and florid pentanogals. Look, they're all just hexagons. Even pyrotiles, poor pentagons, tile up as best they can to form a lumpy hexagon. The rest just can't compete with the best. The hexagon, nobly indivisible, is the bestagon. Where were we? Oh, right, honeycomb project. Max honey, min wax, 3 options. Okay, yes, there's the circle, a shape defined by the least perimeter for the most area, but that only works when you need just one. Pack circles, and this is the best they can do. Look at all that wasted space. And even if you pack the gaps, you still use more wax. And again, the way these circles arrange themselves, it's almost like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hidden hexagon. Bees use the hexagon because no shape is better to create the maximum area for the minimum wall, and this min-max stat of hexagon is one of the many reasons they show up everywhere.
I wonder if it's
including
genetic
in the
that they
hexagon is a long tube that leads to the light-catching cells at the bottom. More light equals better vision, and hexagons let the most light in
But
using
something
the
has to
least
prompt
amount
it
of
to do
wall.
the same
So why
pattern
aren't
every
your
time it's a
eyes
living being.
hexagons? Au contraire, mon ami, they are le hexagon. Not on the outside.
No, no,
Inside. Your light-catching cells
so
are at
yes
the
and
back of
no,
your
but
eye,
because
and
it's the
hexagonal grid
like
for the same
ultimately
reason.
whatever's
Bees,
better
left,
is
light,
gonna
min, wall.
just
Your
prevail.
window to the world is
Because
but through the
they'll just
hexagon. Does
Okay,
that not
imagine you're a bee,
Beat whatever
and
you picked or whatever
have
the
a
competing
new
species.
you have a new queen, and no one knows what to do, so you're going to get it. So do you start from circles and whatever, and then eventually figure out that it's hexagons?
You start
and
with whatever you have. Yeah, it's millions of years. You'll end up at hexagons, right?
millions of
But
years.
it'll probably
That
be
implies genetic
probably all sorts of
pass-through,
ships.
right? That implies something passes through millions of years to prompt these bees to do it that way. Otherwise, it's like a new civilization of bees, and the queen's like, all right, guys, I need honey, but you guys figure out how you're going to do it. So everyone starts making different shapes. And this happens millions of times when new bee colonies pop up, right? Other than them genetically just starting from hexagons from the beginning. Am I? Make sense? Meow?
I see what you're saying.
Right?
How bees know how to make hexagons right away is just something they do, right? Same thing with like my dog, right? Because you think you're lacking a bit too. Yeah, there's probably that. But yeah, a lot of your instincts are just based ultimately on your DNA as well, right? Because you have whatever you are is your DNA, right? So the instincts that are coming to you is still from your DNA. In terms of all your sensory data that's coming in, the way you're interpreting that is still kind of just based on your DNA. So yeah, I would say after a while, especially if it's something like this where they just go and make hexagons, it's not really
do you want to finish it?
Too complicated to think that. Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Not make it the bestagon? Okay, maybe hexagon as min-maxagon doesn't catch your fancy. Then how about a little mystery, we? Let us travel to Saturn. Yes, the ring Saturn. Yes, the rings are
they're not thinking at this point that it's a min-max problem. They're just doing it.
Right. Okay, so they're not testing it. They just know to do it, and they start from the get-go.
Here's the Earth. Oh, here's 6 the Earths.
Interesting.
Saturn's hexagon is pretty big. What is it? Well, you might be thinking it's a geological formation, an enormous basalt column like the smaller versions you find on Earth. But no, Saturn is a gas giant. There is no surface or geology to speak of, so the Great Hexagon is composed of shapeless clouds somehow keeping shape and changing color. It's a magnificent solar system mystery, and while I'm no space archaeologist, if I was looking for an alien-gifted monolith on the most look-at-me planet under a hexagon beacon with Earth-sized sides, that's where I would start. After all, what aliens would want to make first contact with the nearby monkeys before they became enlightened to pursue the universal truth? hexagon is the bestagon. From the largest down to the smallest. Say, for example, this tiny snowflake I happen to have that has 6 sides, as all snowflakes do. Gee, what could cause that to be? Let's zoom down to the atomic realm and see. When water molecules join together to make a flake, the sturdy shape they prefer is the hexagon. As more molecules join, they extend the flake fractally up. The beauty of the snowflake on the monkey scale is but an extension of the hexagonal perfection
crystalline pattern
on the
or
atomic
something.
scale. Okay, yes, you will sometimes find snowflakes with 12 sides, but this happens when 2 growing snowflakes get stuck together, so it still counts. And the hexagon isn't just for snow, but for all Ice 1H, which means basically all ice on Earth. Yeah, there's a little Ice 1C, which we don't talk about because it's made of cubes, and cubes are boring, and there's a bit of Ice 9. No, don't touch that. But if there is ice in your drink, give thanks to the hexagon for keeping it cool. And it's not just water. Lots of atoms use hexagons because, take a note, hexagons are the bestagons. Oh, using a pencil? Get ready to have your mind blown about the hexagon here too. The lead. Well, it isn't lead, it's carbon. And you know what carbon atoms think is the bestagon? The hexagon. Pencil graphite is a whole bunch of hexagonal carbons, and when they happen to be in a straight sheet, that's graphene, which happens to be the strongest atomic material in the universe, some of which is in that pencil. To tear a sheet of graphene apart, you would need 100 times more force than to do so with steel. Hexagon is strongagon. This is because when hexagons come together, they form 3-sided joints 120 degrees apart. This, for the least material, is the most mechanically stable arrangement. Pull on one joint and the other 2 equally pull back. Push in and the other 2 are the most able and stable to resist.
True.
Now look anew at a tiling of hexagons and you see it is composed of nothing but these max stable joints, each arranged perfectly to help the others be stronger and stabler. This is another reason hexagons show up everywhere. The universe blesses stability in her physics, from those basalt columns to bubbles, which, as soon as they can, ditch their spheres to become as close to hexagonal perfection as they can. That's so cool. Oh, right, yes. So if your pencil lead contains some of the strongest material in the universe, how can you write with it? Okay. This is going to get even more exciting. While hexagons are super strong this way, they aren't super strong this way. On a small scale, that means your pencil can break off in layers to leave a mark. But on a big scale, hexagons can be flexible while keeping their strength, letting us construct some totally unreal materials. Print out a grid of hexagons in whatever, from aluminum to cardboard, make a little sandwich, and pow, you've got honeycomb paneling, a redonkulously tear-resistant material that's also super light and flexible. It's used everywhere, but particularly in aviation. Rockets need to be strong yet light. Same for
there was a material
with
I'm
wings
looking
that
for
really
about
can't
that.
tear, but also need to bend. And only the magic of the honeycomb panel can do both as well. Give thanks to the hexagon for blessing our flight. And we still haven't yet discussed the most important application of the hexagon: games. For centuries, there has been great debate over boards, squares or hexagons. Spoiler, hexagons wins. Square boards are the first thing an unenlightened species would think of. They look sensible and are easy to implement, but they are terrible, ineffective boards that cause spatial suffering. On a square board, move horizontal or vertical 1 space and you've moved 1 space, but move diagonal and the distance is the square root of 2 spaces. Gross. Diagonals warp the distance pieces move. Square boards look even and tidy, but it's deceit. Their diagonals corrupting the meaning of space and time, and of course they must, because a square only has 4 true neighbors. Hexagons, however, have 6, which is more than 4, which is better, and the distance from 1 space to
the way his
next
voice
is the same
changes
in every direction. 1 space, just as it should be. If you're a game based on squares, I'm so sorry, but there is hope. With thought and effort, you can hexagon yourself into a better place, as we all should aspire
Dude, is
to
there
do,
a hex
spreading
chess?
order and
I'd
hexagonal
still play
enlightenment.
that.
For
There's all sorts of
hexagons
chesses.
are the bestagons. And now that you agree, with your eyes you will see there's 6-sided perfection in all things, and you will say to yourself as part of the order, hexagons are the bestagons.
All right, I think that's the last time I want to hear that.
Thanks for stopping by for Communicator Coffee. Now go. Share the
Now you will look
enlightenment
at
of the
shapes
order
that
with others.
completely differently from now on.
I mean, for sure, I know. Because of that try, because in physics, that was the best case scenario, was to find some form of, like the peace sign, a triple effect in the center where each direction is supportive of 2 other. One direction push is supported by 2 counter forces, and that's the ultimate way. And the 120 is the thing. I just didn't think of the hexagon being that case scenario. Wait. There was this thing. I went through stupid shorts for some reason, and I saw this. It was pretty cool. Nope. 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 Come on. Come on, I went through it today. Literally a couple of moments ago. Basically, there was a sheet that was super foldable, but you take it apart and it's this one.
Ever seen this incredible material? What looks like silicone is actually an aluminum honeycomb structure, featuring a design that mimics a beehive's intricate patterns. This remarkable material is a breakthrough in engineering, combining remarkable lightness with exceptional strength.
I'm not sure how you recreate so many of them.
In aerospace, automotive, and construction industries. Two primary types
exist.
An expandable variant offering a lightweight, robust
I just want some so I can like move it around like that. It looks like a liquid.
Ever seen this?
Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah, very flexible.
Muy flexible. Many factors confluence. Okay, so tariffs technically would mean that less imports, dollars are transferred, people purchase dollars in order to, like, China can't sell to United States without dollars. They need to exchange in dollars, so we pay in dollars and then they convert those dollars into local currency. But if there's not enough of an exchange, there's less demand for those dollars. Okay, that makes sense. So that's one effect. But everything else on top of it. Anyway, I was stuck on something I was thinking about in the. Back to you. Let's see, where are you at now?
Just reviewing my bootstrapping of my application here. Need to find out what the fuck's going on. So it'll probably be a while for me just to figure out what happened. Because I enabled SSR on this at one point, and so since it's trying to server-side render some things, right? Yeah. So the window object doesn't exist in the servers, right? And that's a big issue. What you're running into when you do web applications, you need to make sure certain things that you expect in a client to exist need to also exist on your server environment, or some sort of alternative or whatever.
Object your main application window?
So the window object I was using to determine which environment I was running my application. So for example, if I'm on a test environment, I should expect a URL or some sort. So you get the URL from the window object on the browser on the client side. But if you're doing server-side rendering, there's no window object on your server. You're not running in a browser environment. You're running in Node.js, most likely, or a different environment. Most likely Node.js. And then it'll error right away if you're using window. Or
I mean, you just have to.
But I just want to right now. I just want to get away from it for now.
Yeah, okay, I got you. But you should be able to.
There's packages. There's packages that will get it. Yeah.
Okay. That just.
Or you can mock it, or you can put in your code to kind of do something alternatively, where okay, if window object doesn't exist, do something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking into. So let me just public static app config. Just return local config instead. And I haven't been paying attention in Angular World as much as I should have, or as much as I typically do. And there's been a lot of things that updated. And I've kept up pretty hard actually, but.
I mean, you still have to like.
There's a lot around There's just a lot in the application bootstrapping that I didn't really keep up with.
Kitty cat meow.
See what this says. Local storage is another thing. Local storage doesn't exist in the browser or in the server. Where are you?
Yeah, it's
I
only
guess.
processing.
Oh,
I mean, unless you make it, you can make local storage.
yeah. I
But
mean, you
then
can
that's a
mock these things.
whole.
I don't want
That's
to
a.
keep
I
settings
hate
for
having
that.
storage on the server unless you're doing a lot of parsing and security checks and making sure. It was funny.
I mean,
Well, go ahead.
I hate having storage on the client as well, but it's kind of the sometimes your best thing to do for the moment.
It's definitely better
Because
yeah.
Mhm. Go ahead.
When Joel was making the website or his website and he requested to have like a resume upload and all kinds of other things that he needed from people to basically like upload to his side of the admin panel for his hirings and stuff. Some dude uploaded a PHP file and he I guess assumed that we had a WordPress. So nothing happened because it wasn't a WordPress. And I was able to look at the file and take a look at it. He encrypted all these little mini bits and pieces and arrays, but once you let it run, you kind of see where the website is that it's trying to direct to. Thought it was clever. And I was like, oh shit, this is why you don't use these big API frameworks. Because even if you let it go, the most common thing that's going to get hacked is whatever is on the market the most often. You know, they have to custom deliver some sort of malicious code into a system they don't understand. So that's why proprietary is always good. That's why I kind of work with proprietary instead of, I guess I do WordPress, but go ahead. You were saying?
We were talking about local storage. So the
Uh-huh.
problem with like using local storage, one is anybody can access your local storage, right? So you can go to browser, right click, go to developer tools. You can start messing with local storage variables, right? And their data.
Yeah.
So nothing in local storage is very okay, well, that's one problem, right?
But isn't there a sandbox
And then
involved
let's say
with
you
a lot
change
of
your
the
application.
browsers? Is there a
I
sandbox
mean,
involved?
so you just have to be careful. You just have to be careful of, hey, you're storing data in local storage. Be careful, right? So, for example, I've seen applications where during their login process, they're storing the password in local storage for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, you don't
So
want
if
to
you're
do
storing
private
data in
data.
local
Yeah.
storage,
Yeah.
if well, depending on the data you're storing in local storage, now any script that's running in your application, whether
Mm-hmm.
like let's say you're using a third-party library that
Yeah.
says it's a malicious third-party library that you injected. That can now read local storage. It can just grab everything and just send it over somewhere, right? So that's like bad thing number one there.
That's why you
Yeah,
verify
remember your
on the
local storage.
server and then accept the token and then just use that token as the verification for the connection. That's the best way. I mean, I guess they can hijack the
There's
token
nuance to
and
that as well.
then. Meh.
Yeah, there you go. Then they can use
Uh,
the token. Yeah,
but if you do
same scenario.
multi-verification based on
Um,
of where the
uh,
token was generated and then verify both IP and token, unless your computer is hacked, I think that's pretty safe.
yeah. There's multiple layers that you could do depending on your use case for your application. Sometimes it's good enough, but just the point is
It's never
local
safe.
storage is very public.
It's never
It's
safe.
very public. There's one
Wait,
there.
really?
So
Public? What do you mean
be careful
public?
if
Outside of
you're.
your computer? Like cookie public?
It's in your browser. Like go to your browser and start so this is the best way to start messing with other people's web applications and websites. So like if let me go to Yahoo here real quick and share in a bit.
I thought cookies were basically public access, but storage is public access? I thought we stopped doing that after Flash got hacked and all these other issues with Java like hacks and storage issues back in like 2008, 10. I can't remember when.
Local storage is very, very public. It looks like Google changed the UI on local storage. Give me a look at this.
I'm pretty sure we're thinking of sandboxing now. I think you have to have a container, or
Oh, there it
Google
is.
creates a container for each website.
Oh.
Could have been
Okay, when I mean
2012.
by public, I mean the user can go into the local storage of the app and start messing around with data.
Okay, so if your computer is hacked, then GG. But yeah, if it's not, then it's not public,
There's also
like a
that, yeah,
cookie.
yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure websites can track each other's cookies, so they're following where people went, and that's kind of like the whole advertising bit there. So cookies are public, but yeah, local storage is just open
Yeah.
to the
So like,
local.
yeah, go to your dev tools, go to application, go to local storage, and you can see all the values that are being stored in local storage here.
Oh, I got a cookie
And
thing for
depending
that.
on, and you can find a lot of things about whoever's application. If they've done it badly or half-assed, you can kind of go through their data and see what they're storing here and start knowing things about their website. And then you can start altering values in here and start testing out their app essentially. One thing I like to do is applications that have like promo codes. I like to definitely go to the local storage and see what they've stored in here, start messing out with some data, see if I can kind of steal any promo codes that could be like in their app, and they just threw it in local storage or something like that. Start messing with tokens, seeing if one of the great things is like if they're using tokens that are sequential, right? Just starts changing sequential tokens to see if you can get data from other people and there's no security, etc. So you can start messing with other sites pretty heavily on just looking through their local storage.
Ooh, you know what's crazy? I mean, it's a plugin, but remember Honey? Do you know Honey, that little add-on that would save people money?
That's what I've heard the whole scandal thing, but I've never,
Right?
I don't think I've
I've
ever
never
installed it.
I've never
I've
seen
never
it
used
or
it.
tested it, but yeah, I used it for a little bit, but then I realized once I started actually looking around that it didn't actually give me anything. Maybe it did in the beginning to catch a public eye, but it didn't really give much of a discount later. But no, for real, that's exactly
Yeah.
like a plugin that fucks with your cookie, and then all of a sudden your affiliate marketing is given to PayPal instead of the people who actually put you on the website to get the purchase because they fake said,
So,
oh, there might be a discount. How fucked up is that? Dude.
so it's even worse, and it's not even about Honey. Like plugins for your browser, they are injecting code into your pages, your website.
Yeah.
So a lot of web app stores or web app plugin stores, they don't do a good job verifying malicious code. So you got to be extra careful because nobody has verified that plugin that is throwing code in whatever page you're on.
Mm-hmm.
So they can steal whatever they want if they really wanted to and start just siphoning data from your pages and stuff like
If
that.
it has a remote connection or if it's exploited in process of being used, for
No,
sure.
no. Well, they're injecting code, so they can inject scripts into your
in
app,
each web page, yeah,
right?
in
And
each web
then
page.
and just do a network call. Throw all the data they just got somewhere else. So
Fair point.
yeah, just like it's the biggest thing that like I'm worried about would be a plugin, just because it's not verified as nicely as other things, which sucks because like some plugins are really good. You just got to be careful.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that like I think Honey had a lot of good reviews, maybe, or it was just heavily marketed, so a lot of people would have downloaded it thinking it was a safe thing.
In the
Too.
beginning, and I did
But
get a couple of like actual like I don't know 20% off of something. Like it was I think it was my PC board back on the old PC that I had built, but or like RAM that I upgraded or something like that. But eventually, I think I removed it from everywhere because I kept trying to see it if it's gonna actually give me any discounts, And then I looked up online every single time I try to see Honey's version of it. And I was like, I can find this cheaper if I just fucking Google it. Why would I keep using this? And this was before it became a problem with the whole PayPal hijacking affiliate marketing thing. That pissed me off. That's like, you're just really trying to squeeze every single penny from the people that are like literally supporting you. How fucked up, man.
Yeah, I say like if you can afford it, buy YouTube Premium. Like YouTube is kind of amazing for what they do. So please support YouTube.
I mean, there's gonna be other factors. There's Rumble now too. Rumble is actually less censored in comparison.
Yeah, but like, oh, I believe that. So, and there's a nuance to that, right? Because as the bigger you grow, the bigger you kind of have to start worrying about the mess that you're putting out there overall. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't fault YouTube for trying to censor some things. Because now let's say it's like if you're a big podcaster, I think yeah, you're kind of you're responsible as your audience grows. Say you have 10 million people, what are the chances you say something and a percentage of them do something stupid on pretty much your input? So you got to be careful. You got to be, I think the word I'm looking for is just conscientious of it, right? You don't need to like self-censor yourself, but you need to be aware. Like,
Yeah, but it still gets weird. Like you heard about whole Mark Zuckerberg talking about how basically the administration was the one that constantly pressured. Not that he's completely out of the bag, he's just kind of pushing blame somewhere else. But on top of the fact that, I mean, all right, you're the government, you're coming in saying, oh no, there's a wave of Russian propaganda, even though that might itself be propaganda. And you're Mark Zuckerberg, and you're like, oh, I guess I have to abide by the government because, it's the government. So, in this weird, arbitrary installment of where information is, what's true and what's not, and the internet being so vast with it, now you have things like Biden's laptop being censored. And that was an actual thing. It went through and it was actually, he's guilty. He also does cocaine. And none of that's in the mainstream because it's,
specifically Biden's son, right?
Yeah, that's fucked
Biden's
up.
son.
And then he gets pardoned after Biden said he wouldn't pardon him. That just shows you this is a fucking mafia. And because it's not on the mainstream, it makes it even worse because those
I
are the
don't
people
think
that are
that.
supposed to tell us these things. For sure, it's a mafia. I mean, look, in Bulgaria, politics is like 18% mafia.
What
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sure. Okay, so what I'm thinking there is, should he have done that as a president? No. Should he have done that as a father? Yeah, I would have been like, fuck you, I don't care. So there's two sides of the coins there. And Biden okay, the son has nothing to do with politics necessarily. I say necessarily is because there was that situation where he essentially got a position in I forget where for
Probably
something,
Ukraine.
pretty much because of his dad.
Yeah,
I think it was Ukraine.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
that
the
was the
thing.
only.
How far does the fucking rabbit hole go? Like at this point,
But again,
conspiracy is a
you're gonna
conspiracy.
get
But what the fuck?
nepotism across the board. They're gonna get nepotism across the board.
That's just
That's
so
just
fucking weird.
something humans do. Something humans do.
Yeah, but it's not excusable, especially for a leadership that we're supposed to actually depend
Um,
on in some
I
form or
think
fashion.
for me, the pardon thing, yeah, I think that's excusable. That makes sense to me 1,000%.
But then put on
Putting
top the
him in a position of any sort of power or any decision making, that I'm less like not okay with, because
You mean
you
Biden
like
being
at
in
the end of the
position?
day, like
Oh, his
no,
son being in
Biden
position.
putting him in whatever position he was, and it could have been a fake position, but I think my very badly understanding of it because I didn't really look into it that much. If you're in a
Okay, so let's
position where you're
isolate the
making
pardoning though.
decisions,
Isolate the pardoning, but then ignore the fact that, I mean, that's fine, I guess, if it's a father thing, but then everything that led up to that
yeah,
pardon, including censorship, including manipulating social medias to remove certain things involving that, okay, one dot pardoning is a father.
Yeah.
Fine.
No,
But there's like
that's
5
also not
dots
good. Yeah.
behind it. That's basically making a straight line. You know, like you can't deny that part. Like all of those were involved.
So
I'm
not sure about the censoring.
So how many more
Because
dots go to Ukraine?
like
Is my question.
I was hearing it nonstop about his laptop, so I'm not sure how that was
you
censored.
Get desensitized. You get
'Cause
desensitized after hearing it.
I heard about it so much, I don't see how that was censored. But maybe it was like they told Mark Zuckerberg to censor it, and they censored it. But I heard about it so much, so I don't know about that.
But what do we know about it,
But
though? I don't know anything other than there was some shit in there.
You can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, there's photos of him doing cocaine, strippers, stuff like that. Stuff that has nothing to do with our government. There was him with a bratty child that has a lot of money. That's all there was on there. There was nothing incriminating.
But then the other pieces to it, yeah, the other.
I wouldn't say incriminating. I mean, I guess because he was doing like drugs, hardcore drugs. Yeah.
Anyway, fair enough.
But there was nothing. As far as I know, right? As far as
just the pardoning itself, sure, I understand. You know, your father, you do your thing. But then there's like the other.
Again, the pardoning I'm fine with. The censorship I'm not fine with. The putting him in any sort of position of. Again, I don't know what that position actually entails, so there's a caveat there. But
yeah, that's fair. Could be just speaking. Or...
If it was like a job that paid, and he did manager stuff that didn't really like do anything, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
All right, keep doing the thing. Sorry, I distracted you with that bullshit. It's just so weird. That's why I'm big on the whole censorship thing. It's conspiracy is one thing, but when dots start connecting, that's when it gets weird.
Connecting to what though? I don't think that like, anything to do with his son kind of didn't go didn't go anywhere. It didn't have anything to do with the government relations or anything.
I mean,
as far as I know.
Maybe we don't know that part because in a way we did go crazy.
But the thing is, we definitely know about like the pardons that Trump does or did. Definitely was. It was definitely like had government relations implications.
Oh, the Jan 6 things, or what did he do before that?
No, he's pardoned family members and stuff, and all his family members. A lot of I think most of his sons and daughters, they actually didn't clear for secret clearance, and he gave them that many clearance anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
He did stuff like that. Again,
yeah.
I guess he's the president. I mean, I guess does the president should or does or should the president just go ahead and give family members secret clearance? No, that's probably not okay.
So Insignia, I remember that brand. It was the cheap TVs back in Best Buy.
The Best Buy brand. They're great.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it is a Best Buy specific brand. FinCEN Financial Crimes Enforcement Network is issuing alert on Insignia. These FinCEN specific fraud schemes include scams that exploit beneficial ownership, reporting misuse, money service business, registration tool. No. Something is abusing FinCEN name insignia. Abusing FinCEN alert on fraud schemes, abusing FinCEN name and authorities for financial gain. Reporting abuse name. The public is reminded that any solicitation from individuals or entities abusing FinCEN name insignia or authorities impersonating treasury. I guess it's just not the actual name, but there's scams involving insignia. Interesting. I'm just reading random FinCEN Gov resources. Deepfake media targeted financial institutions. Right. I've heard a lot of financial institutions getting targeted lately on the AI hacks and social engineering aspect. Financial
Yeah,
institutions.
I think a lot of companies are going to be or I think already are very screwed in terms of security of software and stuff.
I mean, it's been screwed since February 22nd when that Chinese balloon popped up. We talked about this, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it was just recent. No, I think it was around 2, 3 weeks after where 50% of the networks fell apart. And still I'm reading about AT&T and Verizon getting fucked. I mean, all of our data is fucked, so great. Do you have AT&T?
I do. Yes, I do have
Yeah,
AT&T. I think when they got hacked, I got them afterwards or something like that. Or either way.
pretty sure they have like a sleeper agent in there, so I don't think anyone's really secure.
Or
Once you hack
I'm
it, you just have
sure
to
we
put in.
will answer things as well.
Whoa, say that again?
I said, and we do as well in other states.
Hmm.
In fact, I feel like America is the most in position to have more agents versus other countries, because we have a ton of American immigrants from other countries, right? So whether it be Chinese, Japanese, Russian, these are Americans with the adversarial ethnicity where they can't easily do the same.
I mean, they did through the border. Depending on who you ask, 3 to 10 million people unregistered just walked in, including Chinese, Muslim, and a bunch of South
Oh, you
Americans.
can come through the border. You can go through the border and just say you want asylum, and they'll let you through
Well, that's the whole point,
because
ain't it?
the courts are so backed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I mean,
I
when
mean,
did
we
this
have an asylum
begin?
problem.
When did that begin?
No, that's always been the case.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much always been the case. Yeah. Just because the courts are so backed up, they give you a little slip. We'll get to you at a certain date. Come back, please. Essentially, and
Damn.
some people don't come back.
It's like
Some people do.
Disneyland. It's like digital Disney. Yeah, some people don't go back because they're like, all right, well, I'm here
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. The fortunate part is you kind of have to. Here's what I think we should do. People are already here. If you're here and you don't have a criminal record,
Yeah,
we're going. And this is okay.
I agree. No
Let me
criminal
actually
record.
take a
That's
step
it.
back. Let me actually take a step back. No matter what we do, we're not gonna like it because a lot of we have major industries that have cheap labor specifically because they can get away with it because they aren't
Mm-hmm.
American, they're here illegally, etc. So no
Yeah.
matter what we do, we're really not gonna like it. Like either whatever Trump does or any Democrat does, it's gonna be bad. But
Yeah.
what I would probably think of doing is again, you don't have a criminal record. You do amnesty across the board. You shut down the border for any asylum seekers. Hey, like you have to. It's going to be fucked up, but like
Yeah.
if you're coming for help, you kind of we're shut down. We got to reset
We
our
got a lot
system,
already
right?
to help. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so we got to reset our system. So you do amnesty for everybody here. Yeah, they got here illegal, but that's our fucked up problem, or that's our fucked up fault for having this go on for so long. So have amnesty. That'll be good on one part because now you have people that are more comfortable to be here, to pay taxes, etc. So your tax revenue for the country will go up. Prices for everything will probably skyrocket because of those industries. They're now Americans. Now they need to obey by laws a lot more strictly. So people that are picking tomatoes, apples, fruits, any other like manufacturing sector, etc. So so prices are going to have to adjust because of that.
But they're still gonna get
And
paid less
then
then. They're not gonna get paid bigger, so the
uh
cost of actually labor is gonna decrease.
no,
But
they can get lawyers. They're no longer threatened to be deported because they're now American, etc.
yeah.
Yeah. So
But I
just
mean, I would
prices
say
like
still
we
like
already have
one
inflation
crime
that's
can
insane.
deport. one crime viewport, especially violent crime.
Yeah, that'll be. I'm not sure. Yeah, that would kind of be. That would.
Let's just stick down to like a
It depends on what you
generation or
mean
two.
by. Yeah, you'd have to figure out what if somebody did a crime, or how.
I mean, look at New York. That
What
shit
are you going to
fell
classify it
apart.
as?
But it's like 1,000 people. They got really good at doing crime and got professional at it. And now they're like literally they went from regular stores in the middle of the New York City to hijacking the storage supplies of like FedEx trucks going through. And then they ran out of everything there. And now they're going to the homes in the smaller that were normally crime-free neighborhoods. Like any repeat crime like that for sure. If you're like petty crime, like maybe I don't know, like you stole diapers for your kid, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, and
But
that's what I'm thinking. Like, you don't want to you don't want to be in a situation where you're deporting people because they were starving and they needed food, or they needed medicine for their relative and they were gonna
mm,
die. And
yeah.
so that's
But
something for the lawyers to
the
figure
New
out. But
York and the California method of it's a what is it, a misdemeanor unless it's $900 or more. That's a
yeah,
failed.
that's
That's so fucking stupid.
That's because, yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's because, and so this is kind of the thing with democracy. This was voted in by the people, but the people didn't understand what they were voting for. They didn't understand the implications. That's what happened, essentially. It was kind of the people's fault, but at the same time, they kind of didn't know. They was kind of just too stupid to know. And this is why you kind of have a republic, like we do. You want your representatives to really fucking know what's going to go on, and they vote on it, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, this is why direct democracy can be bad. Your people are voting for things they don't fully understand, and that's what happens. You get these laws passed.
When
Now it's a
did it
misdemeanor. Now
become
crime.
when did it become a misdemeanor? New York misdemeanor. Oh, I'm just gonna ask the AI. I'm not gonna search for this. I'm probably gonna give myself
I don't
another
even think.
15, 30
Yeah, I look
minutes.
it up. And I don't think it's $900. I think it might be. I thought it was a little bit higher.
950, nearly 1,000, 990. I'm pretty sure it didn't move beyond the 4 digits.
But hey, I go in the store, steal a PS5, get away with it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay, so the
Yeah, I guess for
1,000,
them,
less than 1,000. Class A, New York penal law. Didn't give me a time. No, so this one, because this is this AI is not really trained on that, I guess, maybe. I got Grok too. Let's ask Grok. But it knows what I'm talking about. So the Class A, stolen property, New York penal law.
app settings for Sun. Okay. Let me go back to app settings.
Oh, 15525, 1,000. Are you not gonna tell me when? To?
I think it's been
When though?
years.
When though?
It's a little it's a little curious because I
2010.
think they would have to wait until, yeah.
This was from 2010. Wow. What about California? That must have been more recent, I think. 2014, I guess
Need to
technically
change
more
the law
recent.
essentially. Yeah, they were more recent,
Dang.
and I think people caught on. It took a while for people
But
to catch on. Then becomes organized crime. It takes a
yeah.
while.
I mean, yeah, it becomes a while, but you need like it was basically dry leaves and branches on the ground, and you needed something to spark it. And I'm sorry, but when you get 10 million people coming through the border, and I mean, as far as I've heard, they've raised from the 400 to 950 in California. And when you have a bunch of people coming through without the ability to get a job, and then they start doing it, and
This is
they don't go to
not. This
jail.
isn't immigrants that's doing this, though. No, these aren't immigrants that
Oh,
are
a
doing
lot of
this.
them
This
are
is
though.
just. Depends what you mean by a lot. I think the vast
At
majority
least
are not immigrants
70%.
here illegally.
At least
You're
70%.
making up numbers, pretty sure. You.
There it is. A report by the New York Post highlighted that illegal aliens might account for up to 75%. I was being generous. I wasn't even.
Let me see it.
This is from Grok. New York Post.
Oh, okay. Grok.
New York Post. It was taken from the New York Post. An actual thing. Don't talk about Grok when he's citing for you. Go look New York Post, 75% arrested in Midtown Manhattan for various crimes, including violent ones, whatever. I mean, illegal aliens might account for up to 75% of arrests in Midtown Manhattan, various crimes, including violent ones, although this is an estimate not based on official statistic. All right, fine, it's an estimate. I mean, I guess when you don't have the ability to track people when they redo crimes over and over because they don't have IDs.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be very hard to find out this number, I would say. I think this is a fucking guess.
It's I mean, I guess 70, just by the occurrences of how many times I'm seeing it being reported. This person got caught and released. They had no ID on him. They couldn't figure out what to do with him, whatever. Like, I mean, at least a catch and release situation. Because you can't do anything to people that aren't citizens, really. And you can't keep a record on them. You can only remember them by face until eventually they decide to do it.
Yeah.
Which would account for
Whoever he
less
was
than,
talking
like,
to is saying it's
1%.
a complete guess.
Regardless, it would be less than 1% of the immigration that actually happens. So regardless of if it's 75% of the crimes that are happening or 75% that are being arrested are immigrants, it's still going to account for less than 1% of the 10 million people that are here. It's just that they went to the places that they can steal as much as they can, figured it out, and then that little dry powder or dry leaf and branches on the ground got struck by a little bit of fire, and then everyone figured out, oh, we can do this without getting caught, and they're just going to release us, and then everyone flooded into the party. And that's how it happens. So it's less than 1% of
like that, yeah.
everyone. I'm not saying it's 75% of actual immigrants that came into the country. No, I'm saying it's less than 1% of the actual. But case scenario, they were the ones that set the fire of the whole issue. Because again, it was since 2010. That's when it began. I mean, that's when they technically had the law that, yeah, you steal less than 900, you're fine, you're misdemeanor or whatever. And nothing happened until
yeah, I believe that. Yeah,
this.
it needs to be repealed to be like real
It worked
consequences.
for 14 years until now, so yeah. Obviously, it can't be done anymore.
We might have just not heard about it.
I mean, stores are closing down. Do you know how much, like, companies are leaving New York City because they cannot survive anymore? Because if they open up a store, they either gotta have all the products behind basically glass, which becomes very inefficient, or they just basically have hope in the community and they get all their shit robbed and then they get stolen on the side of the street, and the police don't do anything about that. They see little stands opening up with like Home Depot tools, and then people just selling Home Depot tools on the side of the sidewalk. This is from that one guy. I don't know if you've seen him. He does a lot of these reportings. Let me find him. Cash something? Cash Jordan?
Oh, I've seen him, yeah.
Okay.
I know him. I follow him.
Yeah,
I follow him.
He does some good reporting. And I mean, you see it happen so much and they can't survive anymore and companies just leave. Like, The Tinder has been put aflame, and to the point
Yep.
where they don't even have anymore to steal from the actual cities. So they're going to neighborhoods that used to be completely crime free. They're walking in the door, stealing their packages from fucking Amazon. That's so fucking ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. I think a lot of losses are gonna happen because of that. Corporate, like you said, corporations are struggling. And that's why I feel like all these subscription models are there just for them to survive without extreme costs of production. Especially with the tariffs coming
No,
in.
so it's just it's just where the businesses are going. There's a big push for just having like a membership economy is what they've been calling it for a few years now, where you kind of want people to be more a member of whatever you're trying to do. And usually that means there's a subscription is what it is. Um,
Yeah,
that's
but
just
for your
where the entire
cars,
industry is going.
okay.
And
So your car has a heat seat.
it's a little bit weird.
Your
But
car
go
has
ahead.
a heat seat. If you subscribe to BMW for $18 a month, or you can do $100 or $120 for a year, or $300 for 3 years. A subscription model to activate your car's built-in $40,000 off the lot freaking seat heat, bro. Tell me that's supposed to be a membership model for your fucking ass to be warm in
No,
your own
that's
BMW. This is how I feel
I'll
like.
let you finish.
There's some things, yeah, some things can be a subscription, Netflix, maybe food, maybe, I mean, for sure, gym and stuff like that. But a BMW's heat seat that's already a product that's in the device that you bought fully, just like freaking Game Passes. Just like everyone's trying to hunt down these new Game Pass systems and they're not focusing on the gameplay of the game. They're focusing on how can we do like fucking Fortnite did, but not even do a good game behind it. Just we want people to just pay. And then they start bitching at all the YouTubers that are like, this game is shit. Why would I buy it? Oh, but you're racist. You're a Nazi. It's like, no, it's not because of the transgender shit or whatever, the LGBTQ. It's because the game actually sucks. No one put a heart into the design of the game. Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead. It's the same fucking problem, I think.
So yeah, so with the car thing, yeah, that's fucking stupid. The car thing was fucking stupid. And can it be abused? Absolutely. But there's other. So because I've been through so many games that like they're great games, but they didn't bring in money, so they eventually shut down. And nowadays games are just fucking expensive to make. They're fucking expensive to sustain, and then they're fucking expensive to improve upon.
I
So
disagree with
membership
all of
models for a lot of
those.
these games, especially if there's a massive no.
Why do indies exist? Why do indie games
There's
exist?
so many.
Huh? Why do indie
We're
games
talking about
make
different
more
types of
money?
games, and there is no indie live server games. Is there?
Okay, but that's a service that they choose to continue on, but you can still make money on making games on a regular basis, on a scheduled form, without a live service where you're risking your own assets to run a server. You can do that, but that's their choice to make it a service game. So how is it a problem with the game? It's development's
It's
not that bad
their
to
choice
make.
to make it a service game.
Yeah, the choice is their own fault. Go back to regular
I'm not a
games
game
like you
dev, so
used
I
to.
can't say it.
Fair.
No, that's just a different type of game, right? Like for example, Fortnite just keeps adding stuff. I don't play
Yeah.
Fortnite, but like I just downloaded Fortnite because they had this like cool thing that they introduced to the game. But
Okay.
I don't play Fortnite. But
That's
there's
fair.
no way Fortnite could still be around today without a battle pass because they've done so much, an insane amount of stuff
For
to
sure.
that game in the past years.
For sure.
So if you want a game that keeps evolving, you have to have a battle pass subscription-ish model. I do think that.
But then there's only so much users available, and you'd essentially have to somehow make a better game than Fortnite in order to even consider being anywhere near the ability to run your service. Like how many, like Concord was one. Like
And
there's so
people do
many
all the time.
games. Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, Marvel now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Marvel,
Destiny
Apex
2
came
is
out, like I was playing
dying.
Fortnite, then Apex Legends
is
came
pretty
out.
decent, but it's dying also, right? I think it's kind of slowing down.
It's probably slowing down, but it's also because the market's just saturated, right? Now
Right, that's
people
the
are
problem.
playing Marvel
Yeah.
Rivals. I'm playing Call of Duty. That one actually has a battle pass, but I don't use it.
Yeah.
There's no way a game like Genshin or Star Rail could survive without a bat or
All I was disagreeing
Actually, they
is
don't.
you said that it was difficult or expensive to make. That's where indie comes in. But it is expensive to have a live service, but that's still a
Those
choice
types
on
of
the
games
company.
making well, it depends on what type of game you want to make, right? If you want to make a very immersive, long lasting game, you need something that is more membership slash really it's not even the membership for these games,
Dude, you
it's
do it
the
like
FOMO,
Final
right?
Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Like you do it like Metal Gear Solid.
I
You
haven't
do
played
it
any of them.
like I'm fine.
Those are
but
not live games. There's no community. There's no network battles. There's no. It's not a continuous story. It's one and done, right?
no, it's a I
There's
mean,
for
I
all
guess
these
there's
other
kind of
games, it's
separated.
continuous.
It's creative, and you're still making a product that you would consider it quote unquote continuous return on profit over time, like a live service game does, right? That's the point.
And you kind of don't need to anymore either. You don't need to make new games at all anymore, right? Because a lot of the motivation for making new games, it's because the hardware slash graphics improved, the software engines improved, etc. A lot of these other games, like why are you buying a whole new game when like you're making an entire new code for a game? You can just expand the already current game that's out there. That's actually cheaper, isn't it?
I mean,
And we don't need to.
I don't know.
There's no need to improve graphics anymore because we've kind of hit limits on graphics anyway.
I mean, yeah, we have, and that's why the new graphics processors or GPUs from NVIDIA are like half AI now and upscale the frames per second by downscaling the overall graphics and filling in the missing pieces with AI slop. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, that's what Unreal Engine does, I think. And that was so disappointing when I found out Unreal does that. The reason things look so good is because, or so realistic, is because they add some sort of like blur movement motion filter or some shit on top of it. And then Unity and their shitty scam on trying to charge people to for every install or reinstall of the game or some bull. Like all of these attempts at just trying to squeeze extra money just screams and corporations are running out of ideas to make money. And then they're pushing us these membership subscription models so they can have this excuse to continuously have income. And that's why Concord didn't work. They didn't have a lot of soul in the game. There's a bunch of games. What was it? Um, God, what were those counter Batman people that were with the clown? God, why is that not running in my head right now? There's a whole game based
DC
on
versus.
No, it was like the whole game where you're like the evil people, the rebellious clowns with like things, and you're fighting.
Oh.
Something Squad.
Suicide
Squad, yeah. That didn't really cut it through. Like, I mean, looking at the graphics, that was an obvious case. But all of these were so focused on having service as a live service as the main that it almost felt like they prepared a whole empty game just to have a live service. Like,
oh yeah.
Like Genshin Impact, I see it. Even still, I'll see Fortnite. I can maybe see Destiny 2 coming back one day because that was a pretty decent concept of a game. I really do like it. I might reinstall it again. But yeah, like one thing that I will say is if you don't have a consistent improvement process, you're going to end up like Titanfall. That was a great fucking game. That was a great fucking game. It introduced a whole new set of mechanics
Apex
that are
Legends
being reused.
is the successor to.
Kinda, but you don't have
Isn't
cool
Apex Legends the successor to Titanfall?
No, it's not the same. It's more like Titanfall mechanics plus League of Legend attempt
It's the
at
same engine and stuff, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, sure, Apex Legends did a really good job on the interactability with the environment. That's really what got them into the game without the stupid Fortnite building block bullshit. have to be autistic to build a castle in 5 seconds so you can fight your opposing team. That's what killed it for me. I think they removed that though, or they have different modes now or something. Um, but like it just shows that a lot of AAA titles nowadays are overspending without good priority on what they're focusing on. And really the focus is like Nintendo. They can still pump out some pretty good one-player games. Just
Yep.
thinking of all the Zeldas, like it just takes a story. Like that's the thing too. I remember what was it, Asylum or someone was saying. Every single company, every single game studio has its own niche. They built it. They have the devs that are behind it, and the passion's there, and they love doing it. Keep doing that. As soon as Nintendo starts making a live service game, and they put $200 billion into something that's a big question mark, trying to compete with an oversaturated market like Ubisoft did, that's probably the day they're gonna get their ass destroyed. I mean, maybe more than they probably got more than 200 billion. I don't know. Who knows? But if they put 80% of their worth into something that's oversaturated like Ubisoft did, they're also gonna fall apart. But they didn't do that. That's a smart decision because, I mean, we already named a whole ton of them that are basically live service. But just the heat on the fucking BMW, how useless of a subscription. And then I'm looking at the other things that are happening around us and just thinking, holy crap. It's like they just want us to pay for BS that's we should have. I remember again, as like old people will say, I remember when I owned my music, when I owned stuff. I do not accept your membership society. Like you say it matter of factly, that's fine if that's what they want us to go into, but I'm unsubscribing from everything and fuck that. You know? I'll go back to piracy if I have to. Not supporting it, for the record. But it's just BS. It's just BS. I want to buy a CD again. I want it to be mine. I don't care if it'll break in a couple of years. I'll back it up digitally. Then I'll burn it again.
All I'm saying is that you're gonna have bad actors and you're gonna have things that definitely make sense for it.
Yeah,
And I
Netflix.
hope the bad actors don't ruin
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
ruin it.
I mean, even the membership subscription model, I feel like is oversaturated, just considering that the BMW has to have a subscription to use that fucking seat heat.
Yeah, it is all. I think people are a lot more conscious of it nowadays too. It's like, I'm not doing another subscription.
And
For
as a
me, I'm not
professional,
doing another. But
yeah, go ahead. Like Adobe, Microsoft Office, I accept those. Those are professional systems that update. You know, you need updates to continuously. At some point, I guess maybe you have a perfect software, but even then, probably not. But I remember when you had to buy 2000 and 2000 something and 2000 something else, and then there were always new updates happening. Like, it's better to have a subscription there. It absolutely makes sense. 100%. Software should have a subscription and entertainment, not physical products. Sorry, go ahead.
one thing I don't do anymore is loyalty programs. I'm like, I have a loyalty program fucking everywhere. I don't need one anymore.
But you come back, you get a little
Try to
stamp or
join
something.
our. Hey, are you a member of our store? Like, no, and I don't want to be.
I'm tired of all these cards weighing down everything. Yeah, yeah. I mean, here in Bulgaria, they don't necessarily like we do have those same memberships, but even the people working there are like, yeah, I wouldn't get it myself. I understand if you don't get it. Like, we're not that intertwined into this membership society. We just want to get our product and go home. Like, leave us alone. Why do I want to sign a whole document for a card? And then there's terms and conditions and BS behind it. So now, yeah. Oof.
No.
My God, it got so messy. Remember what we used to pay for? I mean, I don't remember because I was a child, but what was it? Landline, car, house, insurance, electricity, and water. Am I missing something? Internet, when that came up. That was my age. Anything else that I'm missing? That was it. Monthly basis. Those were it.
Pay for cable if you had cable, right?
Yeah, if you had cable. I was unfortunate. I had the antennas. Get
Food
those
prices.
Sunday or Saturday morning cartoons on the antenna, the local channel.
Yeah, I think that's why like Ruby grew up with SpongeBob and I didn't, because I was like a cable or something. Like I didn't have that.
I grew up on Beetleborgs, Power Rangers, what was it, Twilight Zone, some weird ass kids shows that was that dude jumping up and down in blue jumpsuit or something. Uh, Pokemon, that was always on. Yeah, Pokemon for sure. Sonic had a couple of episodes. Man, I'm actually flashing back to watching some of those Sonic episodes right now.
I didn't watch Sonic.
That was like the mix. That was like a mixtape on Saturday morning cartoons, and it wasn't ever on a particular set schedule. Sometimes they moved some off and on. But Beetleborgs, man, Beetleborgs was like that hidden gem no one knew about.
Well, I rewatched this one day, but I wanted to rewatch it because it was just so good. Gargoyles, that was great.
Oh
A great show.
Yeah. For sure, Gargoyles too.
Yes. They should do something with that.
Mm-hmm. Someone should definitely remake it, I guess, and not screw it up.
I guess what they'll probably do a live action. I think at this point it'll be fun.
That'd be pretty interesting. To maintain the storyline, it could work.
Yeah.
But did it come from a comic?
I forget. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're from a comic. Disney acquired it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, dude, that company that made oh, fuck. The weird dog and that weird person that go through different worlds with the sword and uh oh God, I have a stupid app based on that. I have a game balloons with them. Hold on, I'm about to find out what it was. Oh no, I removed it because it had ads everywhere. Yikes. Adventure something? Fuck. Basically, the company that made this that I'm about to tell you, they sold all their assets and they became bankrupt too. Like, there's so many bankruptcies happening right now.
Yeah,
Insane.
Joanne's might
Yeah,
close soon.
that too. Joanne's on top of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had a bunch of stores at Waterford over here. If you remember them, they've closed, but there's been a ton of stores opening too. So it's kind of hard to judge how. I feel like Waterford's a good place to judge how the economy is going. So we had a bunch of stores close, and now some stores are taking over. There's a there's a Korean barbecue place opening up that's called Gen. Shake Shack is coming over. There's this hot dog place. I already forgot what it's called, but that opened up. We tried that. That was actually really good. Um, so I would definitely say the economy is wobbly because there's
Yeah,
just businesses shutting down and then other businesses taking over.
yeah, wobbly for sure. Cartoon with orange dog that transforms into random things and Flynn was Flynn his name?
Mm.
I want to say Adventure Time, but that
Oh,
doesn't make
it's
sense.
turns and oh no.
My brain just doesn't know. No, incorrect. No,
What is returns?
Flynn cartoon, Flynn and something. God damn it. No. What? Brain? Brain. No. No. Okay, am I thinking? Let me just say Adventure Time.
Yes.
Yeah, oh my god, it was the fucking thing. It just didn't click that it was or was not. Okay, so Adventure Time is owned by they sold all their assets? Was it Warner Bros? No, it couldn't be Warner Bros. Flynn and what the hell was that dog's name? Hello. Is it me you're searching for?
I never watched it.
You know what I'm talking about. You've probably seen something. It's a pretty big sort of has a community backing. I used to watch it. Franchise. So this is one of those cases where big companies start buying off the assets of smaller companies. Normally that happens created by Pendleton
Be right
Ward.
back.
Okay. Jake and Flynn. Jake makes sense now. Wow. Flynn was a dog? No, Jake was the dog. Oh my god. Anyway. Adventure Time. Assets sold. Okay, fine. Adventure Time bankruptcy. It wasn't Adventure Time, it was the whole company. Arcade Company exits Chapter 11. Arcade Company. Okay. Wait, what? What else is behind it? Oh, okay. That looked like Hey Arnold for a second. Game Time Amusement Center restaurant chain. Davy-based A&E Adventures doing business in Game Time enter Chapter 11 reorganization in U.S. bankruptcy court, Miami, September. Listed as assets for 30 million, liabilities of 16 million. Million, did I say billion or million? Live Oak Banking Corporation. There it is. Another bank buying out some assets from something. Either going to resell it or copyright it and then sue people for using it. Game Time sales fell sharply during the start, causing it to fall behind on rent in some of its 6 locations. Yikes. So paid off at 16, assets at this, loan outstanding. Hmm. Company will keep its locations. So wait, no, those are also. It listed assets of 29, liabilities of 16. Its largest creditor was Live Oak. No. They had a creditor with 11.5 million outstanding. Ouch. Okay. Who bought them though? Okay, so maybe it's not quite.
Okay. I gotta clean because I got people coming over.
Okay, yeah,
My
I'm about
place
to
is a
pass out.
fucking trash.
So it's
All
called
right, man.
Arcade Company, and they're leaving Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Anyway, a lot of companies. Normally, this happens at the bottom of a
Alrighty.
recession, for the record, but I don't think we're there yet. All right, see ya. Bye.
There we go.